Hello, everybody. It's Nickolas Wildstar, candidate for California governor, here with a community Q&A with yours truly. I'm inviting people from the community to speak with me and bring up their concerns about what they would like to see have changed with our state government. And my guest here today is Miss Sandra Lepp, who I'll be letting introduce herself. And we're going to find out more about what's bugging her about our state government and what she would like to have changed. So, Sandra, thank you for being here with me.
Thank you for having me. Basically, I'm California's first caregiver to get arrested, raided, prosecuted, and found innocent in the California Superior Court, 1997, for cultivation. I've been growing since the 80s and know a little bit about growing. So somehow along the line, wonderful people helped me and protested for me, people including Dennis Perone, Eddy Lepp, and other wonderful people, the Hempress of hemp, and just wonderful people. All these, Lynette Shaw, these wonderful people helped and came across to petition for me for my release and for me to basically be acquitted, which I was, and therefore I'm California's first caregiver to be found innocent of cultivation in 1997 after 215 passed.
That's wonderful. At least you were able to beat the system. But you said your husband, Eddy Lepp, is that his name?
Absolutely. Yep.
Is he still imprisoned at this time?
No, let me explain what's going on with my husband. It's a very, very, it's a hard situation. He has cancer, stage 4 cancer. And he was given 3 months to live back in September. And we've been fighting it with cannabis oil, 3 grams a day. And it's been shrinking, but unfortunately, if you look on his page, his latest video, you can see that he explains it's finally gone into his bones.
Oh, no.
And it's just a very hard situation right now for everybody. I ended up in the ER with heart issues because I've been in an accident before, and all the stress and everything. Everybody's having a hard time dealing it with, how we're dealing with it. And it's Eddy's definitely not in jail. He's with loved ones at home right now at his daughter's house.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a better environment to be in, definitely.
Absolutely. And I'm right now in no condition to care for him because I've been in and out of the ER right now with heart issues. So.
Right. Gotcha. Well, know that your husband and your family is definitely in my prayers, and I'm sure everyone that's watching is sending you well wishes, and hoping that he is able to come out of this in some way. It still is a possibility that cancer can regress. It's just with proper treatment, and unfortunately, we do have medical professionals that want to dictate what type of treatment you as an individual should be able to choose, instead of you choosing for yourself. So it's sad that someone with such a medical condition can be prevented from, something that they see is making them better,
Yeah. So at this time right now, basically, California Prop 64 only allows for 6 plants per house indoors. So it makes it in a 100-square-foot area where it's really not logical or proper or correct because a wheelchair couldn't even maneuver in that area. Not only that, but most people don't have the power, the money to pay electric.
Yeah.
Again, here we go. We're stuck in California where now Prop 64 says unless you have a local permit, you can't grow your medical plants outside without a local permit in many places, including where we live. And even with that permit, we're stuck at 6 plants, which is not enough to make 3 grams of RSO for my husband per day.
Oh, no. And that gets awfully...
Luckily, we've been getting supplies from this wonderful company called Military Meds.
Oh,
and they have been supplying him with the RSO he needs. Also, a good friend, Babalu, he also makes wonderful meds for him. And with that, we've been keeping him going. But If I had to use what I had from my 6 plants, that would not have happened. That would have not have been possible. And most people don't have the network that my husband had to get what he needed in medicine.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's
So
the
I
worst.
believe it's a crime. It's a crime that they don't let people grow what they need for their medical needs.
Yeah, I believe that's the worst part is when we're prevented from, again, better medical treatment because of how much money you have as well. Like you said, a lot of people can't afford to maintain that much, electricity or pay for that to maintain those plants.
Not
And
only that, but you have to have proper electrical permitting. They want to come and inspect your space. They want to check for mold. You have to sign a waiver saying the police can come and do a warrantless search at any time.
oh my God, that's ridiculous.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of little details that when you look at the details, you go, doesn't this violate HIPAA patients' rights? Not only
exactly.
that, when you get a permit, that permit becomes public information, which again, I would say violates HIPAA.
Indeed, absolutely, because and like you said, it's a violation of that person's privacy. You shouldn't be able to
Absolutely.
dig into that. But it's sad
It's
because,
basically a hit list because now everybody's address is there and robbers can come and rob.
right, right. And the sad thing about Prop 64 is it gave the perception to a lot of people in the state that this is going to be beneficial to, the people of California when it hasn't been. Thousands of people and thousands of businesses have, you know, uh, been victimized because of it, including you and your family. But like you said, if it wasn't for those connections, you would be in a tougher situation. And there's tons of people in the state of California that are finding themselves in that position right now, is because they aren't receiving any type of steady income and they don't have adequate health coverage. Their health is declining, and it's not due to COVID-19.
They gave my husband 3 months to live in September. I told him, you know what? I'm going to give him cannabis oil. They wanted to put him on hospice. I said, let's wait. I upped his cannabis oil. The tumor started shrinking. The doctors were making appointments 4 months into the future. Things were going pretty good for a while there. Not until recently did we find out it went into the bones.
Wow. Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll be able to continue the treatment and continue keeping him alive because it's definitely working, especially to go from September last year to almost a year now, September a year later. So,
Well, cancer goes quick and things happen, changes happen. So,
yeah. Well, it's a lot longer than 3 months.
yeah, I understand. But, right now it's just been a very hard time. It's about it.
Indeed. I could only imagine what you're going through right now. And the worst thing about this is we do again have public officials that are in position to make things better for you and me and, every one of us, but yet they tend not to, like Gavin Newsom.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
the issue was they promised the patients 215 rights after 64 passed, and they tried to do amendments to help us keep our rights, yet they really haven't because we're still stuck at 6 plants in 100 square feet, where someone like me who's been growing since the 80s can grow 2 plants in 100 square feet, or
wow.
even one if I wanted to.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy. And
But, they're restricting you to different limitations because they don't even understand the growth of a plant. They
right.
don't understand that 6 plants do not fit in a 100 square foot area. And this
Wow.
is what I'm saying again, that the people that are making the rules don't realize. I mean, go in your kitchen, look at your tile floor. 6 of those little tiles. I mean, 10 of them, excuse me, it's 100 square feet. 6 plants in 10 tiles.
Yeah,
You can't even fit, a few 5-gallon buckets in that area.
exactly.
So the rules that are being made by people that don't understand the plant, don't understand the needs of the patients, and people that have been doing this for 20, 30 years need to be the ones making these rules, or at
Right.
least advising the people that are making the rules.
Exactly. You're absolutely correct. Because they're coming in and they're dictating how people should be able, how people are living their lives. Like you said, they're not connected at all. They haven't even done the growth themselves. so they don't even know the full facts of the matter. That's what I would do. You know, I'm not skilled in marijuana growing at all or cannabis growing. So I want to leave that up to the professionals. If anything, I think government should get out of it and leave, the industry
Well,
to regulate itself as, apples or oranges or any other fruit or vegetable.
let me get into this real quick, and this is part of it. Cannabis is the cash cow. If we were charged equally to what the orchards were charged, that would be one thing, but we're charged 10 times, 20 times more if you
Right.
look at the inspections and whatnot that we have to go through. Now, if we could just be treated fairly like any other agricultural crop, that would be one thing. But we're in these predicaments where, for example, my friend had a co-op with 18 acres. Well, they said you have to have 20 acres to be commercial. So only people with 20 acres got to succeed. Everybody with 18 and under. By the way, that was the first African American owned dispensary and training organization in all of California. Me and my partner set that up. It's called Sea Green Holistic Education. His name is Carlos Frazier. Wonderful man. Me and him did a curriculum for training, and we were teaching people how to grow 6 plants, the size of Volkswagens, basically, because
Okay.
the county had restricted us to 6 plants, where before we could grow up to 99.
Wow. And 18 acres, that's a lot of space. I mean, but to set the bar at 20 for a
So they set the
commercial.
bar at 20, and then they took Google overflight images and restructured the property lines. And people are currently suing right now to get their taxes back for the property that they've been paying for on their 20, 30 acres or whatever. They got restructured when they did the Google overflight images and said, no, you can't grow. Sorry, you got 19 and a half acres or whatever.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that happen with the county regulations. Oh, give me just 1 second. There we go.
And you said for how long have you been in the industry?
Well, I was a caregiver back in 1997.
97.
1997, I was arrested as a
That's over
caregiver.
10 years. Wow.
Yeah. And I've basically continued to grow throughout my entire life. But as a mother, as a single woman, most of my life, I basically had to keep everything under the wraps, under covers. I didn't tell anybody I grew. I stayed very low key. What I did, no one knew about. I came to Lake County. I bought my house in 2011. And everybody was growing. There was 99 plants at every single house. Okay. It was the most bizarre thing. And I agree, that's a bit much. And if people aren't growing properly and doing damage, that's not right. And this is back to where I wanted to go. So yes, I met everybody. I got to know everybody. People realized that I could teach them organics. And I tried to convert as many people that were using salty chemicals into using organics. And then started doing organic training. And this is the thing. Most of the large corporate places are using non-organic, and that harms the environment and it creates bad runoff. If the industry as a whole could use organic measures with their nutrients all the way to their pesticides, the runoff would be healthy and it would create new rivers, new streams that would add to our lakes and to our aqua system.
Wow.
And in California right now, since we're in a drought, I want everybody to look up permaculture. If you could add permaculture to cannabis farming, there'd be less water use. So permaculture should be mandated in cannabis because 1/10 of the water is used because the water is retained because there's grass and clover and things growing to hold that water in.
Right.
That could also be used in other farming, such as corn. And then what happens is since the ground has no permaculture on it, when it rains and that corn's been sprayed, that corn and the toxins from the Monsantos or whatever they've poured on there go right into our lakes, which create canobacteria blooms, which create algae and bad things in the lake
Wow.
and our rivers and streams. So my whole point is that all of the ag should be monitored by the runoff. You either have healthy runoff or you don't. You're either hurting the earth or you're not. And I don't care what you're growing. That should be the measure.
Absolutely. I would love for that to be the current standards. So, like you said, The environment can be improved because of it, instead of right now us causing a severe impact on all of what we're doing, and
Exactly.
we're not being wiseful as to how we're growing our food or growing anything for that matter. Um,
Exactly.
we're definitely not being respectful of our planet, where we're raping it of all of its natural resources instead of coming up with better alternative methods, more sustainable
Absolutely.
methods, like what you're talking about. We right now we're experiencing a drought in the state. We need to be thinking about better ways to where we can preserve our water and still
Oh,
be able
yep.
to grow food, still be able
Yep.
to grow products, and keep ourselves in business here, since the state survives off of our economy. Um,
Yeah, I really want everybody to look up permaculture. Um, if you can imagine a dry earth with no grass growing on it, and then the rain comes down, all the toxins from everything around wash down into the valleys, into the waterways, into the streams. But if you have clover and you have grass and you have, deep roots growing of other plants in that area, that all gets filtered. And as it gets filtered, it becomes clean water. And it not only stays in there and holds, but then when it gets released into nature, it's actually healthy, good water adding to our ecosystem.
yeah. Actually, I went to visit Daryl Cotton, a mutual friend of ours, uh, at 151 Farms in San Diego. And Daryl, as you know, has um, these closed loop
Aquaponics.
aquaponic systems, yeah, where the water basically recycles itself and then it goes around and basically creates its own filtration system, uses less
Absolutely.
water, and
And you can have fish, you can have other things as well.
yeah, shrimp. He said you can do
Yeah,
shrimp farming in there. So there's
exactly.
different types of products that we can, other types of things that we can be creating here,
The
other than
issue with that in some areas is that it's hot and it's going to cost you money to keep the water cool. For example, here in our county, it gets to 103, 104. That water would fry the roots. So
right.
again, you have to know what you're doing. You
Yeah,
can't just mandate that, and then everybody in hot counties wouldn't be able to grow.
exactly.
Um, but they have dry farming where you don't use as much water. There's the permaculture farm. There's probiotic farming. There's so many different types of organic, healthy farming
Hmm.
that it all needs to be part of this. And the one thing that cannot be a part of this is the non-organic salty chemicals that are damaging the earth.
Right, exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. If anything, I would support banning those type of chemicals being used versus
Yeah,
mandating, the type of, I guess,
yeah,
aqueduct system that needs to
yeah,
be done.
exactly,
In case man,
exactly. Leave
it's,
them with no choice but organics.
yeah, I mean, if you're managing things locally, then the state doesn't need to be concerned in dictating, what those
Exactly,
standards are. Like you said, different areas have different climate conditions, so you got to know how to grow where you are. So
exactly,
make a one size fits all type of policy on the state level is
exactly.
nonsensical. So
It
that
really is. It's so nonsensical that it's creating real problems for real patients because patients aren't criminals, but patients are ending up with $1,000 a day per plant fees. They're losing their homes. They're going to jail. I
yeah.
had a female friend of mine who got busted for growing. And when the cops came, they said, "I'm sorry, it's not 215 anymore. You're under 64 now."
Oh my
And
God.
she had no clue. Most people don't realize that if anything over 6 plants, they can consider it commercial cultivation. In California, right now, anything over 6 plants is considered commercial cultivation. I hope everybody heard that.
I hope everyone did, because that's going to put a lot of people in a threatening situation, especially if they're growing it for medical use and don't have the proper documentation to
Now,
prove.
even with the proper documentation, 6 plants and 100 square feet per house is California Prop 64 rule.
Oh my God. Yeah, we see, and that's why I said I would nullify Prop 64 on day one. It's done
Well, let
more.
me tell you why you could. Prop 64 only had 32 pages of the information in the voter handbook. It was actually 63 pages, I believe, for the entire initiative, and it was not included in the handbook. Half of the initiative was printed, so the people of California had no idea what they were voting on.
Wow. Well, there's a reason to nullify right there. And I would be proud to do so were I to be given the opportunity to be elected governor. So, as a potential future governor of the state, is there any demands or requests that you would have for me?
To please just preach the gospel of organic farming, and to consider probiotic and runoff as being a standard, and maybe talk about permaculture and bring awareness to people about how much water could be saved in California if crops in general included permaculture.
Wonderful. Absolutely. Well, the best thing about being in a public, service position is being able to turn to people like you for consultation, so we can, again, find a way to spread that message to others and inform them as to why would be more beneficial to us all, especially here in the state where, like I said, with the suffering from a water shortage, we want to make sure that we have our bases covered. The real essential to me is food, water, shelter, power.
Well, power is part of the issue here. For example, in Lake County, we have farms that have been trying to get legal for 6-7 years, yet we got Flocana that came here 6 months ago and got their license. I'm sure they will not be organic, and they'll be taking up thousands of water, of gallons of water. And a matter of fact, the area that they got approved on was shut down for the winery because the winery didn't have enough water. So I don't know how Flocana got theirs, but hey, I don't know. But I'm just saying it took them 6 months, and people here that I know have been trying for 6-7 years and still don't have a license. So there's a lot of things here that when you say power, since Daryl, that there's a lot of issues with counties and rules that favor people somehow, and companies, and I don't even know how to explain it, but
no, it's crony.
It's basically a prejudicial system that only allows the elite and rich to succeed. If you don't have over 20 acres, you have no hope, even if you're a 4th-generation farmer.
Wow, that's an ridiculous assumption that such a person needs to have that much property just to be able to go into business. We need to remove these requirements altogether.
Well, that's a local requirement here. And the thing is that each individual city, town, area got to make their own local rules, where I believe California should have pretty much just a very blanketed rule, pretty much like 215, just saying if you're a patient and you need meds, grow what you need that your doctor says that you need. Don't exceed 99 because that's a federal issue. And if you're not a patient, grow your 6, 12 max, whatever, don't use too much water, be kind, I think that would be fair.
Yeah.
Because I wish I could say I want more for everybody but I know realistically that wouldn't be allowed. But I think patients should be considered, and especially cannabis patients that need, high doses for cancer.
Now, see, when you say allowed to me, that to me is striking because we're adults here. Why are we asking anybody to allow us to do what we want to do, especially if we're not hurting anybody, and especially people that we're employing with our tax dollars and paying their salaries to do something we want them to do, so that's why, to me, I feel like we need to shift. When I was talking about power, I actually meant electricity, but you're right.
Oh, well, yeah, that too, because us people that are poor don't have that.
Yeah. But you're right. We need to make sure we got all bases covered. But you're right. We do need to shift the control of power and choice of what happens in our community back into the hands of the people, instead of these corporations, these politicians that are in their pocket, and going along with the status quo, because they're basically just keeping things the way that they are because they benefit from it. You know, it keeps them wealthy and it keeps them in
Yeah.
power. So my goal as a candidate and as a future governor is to rip the rug out from underneath their asses, you know, and place it back on this side with you and the people of the community where it belongs, you know.
When
Um,
we had a community effort, we would have farmers markets. We would go to the Emerald Cup, and all of the patients and people that grew would have that community. Now it's only the large corporations that grow. So you go to the events, and all you see is corporate branding, and there's no more community.
Exactly. Yeah, we need to take that power back away from these conglomerates and corporations. I'm sick of it. Hopefully, the people of California are sick of it as well. I think
Yeah,
so, which is why I feel like this recall will be successful.
yeah.
Because he's just flip flopping all over the place, and he's making people from so many different areas upset. You know, whether you're in the tech industry or you're a rideshare driver or you're a cannabis grower, or just a working class person, you're not
Well, I
really
don't know if you realize, but Gavin Newsom actually has upped the amount of police helicopters surveillance on cannabis. They had the what was it, the military out here, the National Guard. I mean, it's just crazy. In Humboldt, they literally are doing live Google mapping.
hmm
It just seems like that should be unconstitutional because
absolutely. Yeah, they
it's your
were
land. This is my land. I bought this property. I paid for it. I own my cars. I own my property. I don't need the government telling me what I can grow here. But unfortunately, they fly their helicopters so low that it shakes my windows, that I could literally see the color of the socks on the guy's feet that are hanging outside the door.
that's ridiculous. Yeah, actually,
And I wave at them. I'm all, I got six, you know.
right? Might as well just let them know and get it out the way. But yeah,
I
recently,
actually put my patient number on top of my greenhouse and it says six.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live in Fresno, and just recently, I don't know if you heard about this, but there was a $250 million marijuana grow that was seized here in my county. Now, they say illegal, but like you said, what really makes it illegal? That
They
they weren't
hadn't gotten
like
their permitting, and their permitting hadn't gone through because someone in the permitting department probably lagged.
right, right. So this is what's happening right now is the government is basically stealing property, stealing money, stealing livelihood away from people, innocent people. And it's all happening
Yeah.
under the administration of Gavin Newsom. So, uh,
Also, here in California, there's counties like mine that are very impoverished. Our community was flourishing with cannabis back when 215 was alive. We had people at the restaurants. We had people at the lake. Now it's literally a ghost town since 64 passed.
uh,
It literally affected our community terribly. I mean, to the point, and just so you know, it's a very impoverished community. I bought my house for 33,000 in 2011. Okay,
wow.
it's a very impoverished community. I live on a dirt road on a hill. Okay.
Well, hey, that's
Um,
better than some of the housing costs here in California.
well, since 2011, it's gone up. My house is definitely worth a lot more now. But my point is that it's a very impoverished community. We have dirt roads. I have a tree growing outside in the middle of my road. I mean, it's in not all California is what people think California is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, there's lots of rural parts all across the state, including here in Fresno, where I live.
Mm-hmm.
They just recently started developing, uh,
Mm-hmm.
a larger part that used to be just all farmland, or
Mm-hmm.
just nothing, but that's what we need is to make sure that we're keeping the money that's generated locally, in
Yeah.
the community instead of it being
Well, yeah.
reappropriated by the state.
Part of the reason I mentioned the price of the house was because they put $1,000 per plant fees on the homes. So imagine my home if I had 24 plants and I had 3 days worth of fees.
Oh my God.
I'd
That's
lose my home.
yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to put it in perspective.
That's That's ridiculous. I'm I've had it up to here with all of the government shenanigans. I mean, I've totally had enough. So I'm hoping that the people of California do take action. Like I said, we've already done it, the hard part by collecting the signatures to recall him and get Gavin Newsom out of office. Now it's a matter of follow through. So that's why I'm asking people of the community to now use your people power, the same people power that was used to get him out of office to get somebody better elected, someone that's going to do exactly what we say and be beholden to us and us only, and I'm hoping that the people of California will, give me that opportunity.
Just
So,
so you know, I have a funny story. Back when some friends of mine were looking for people to help them grow, I was told that one of Gavin's friends was opening a cannabis grow, and they had actually asked me to go and check it out and maybe be one of their, you know, head growers or whatever, master growers. I don't even like what that, the name of that title is, but whatever. Anyways, it's just funny because I know he definitely knows people in the industry, and I'm sure that a lot of the rules and regulations that always get set by the people in charge are very often, to help the people that they know. That's all I have to say about that.
and that's what we want to do is get back to that place where we're helping each other instead of being dependent upon the government to help us.
Well, it needs to be fair. Like if you judge it on runoff, then okay, all these dirty farms are closed down. That's fair. If you
Yeah,
judge it on environmental damage, anybody who's left garbage out, trash, shut them down. That's
yeah.
fair. But this 20-acre rule, that's financially unjust, and I consider it, quite honestly, being prejudicial to the poor.
Absolutely. And it's sad that you have a lot of people that are supportive of law and order, but they don't recognize the bias when it comes to enforcement of those laws. Like you said, how can the rules apply to me, but not for thee? So we need to stop that hypocrisy happening in our state right now. If the people of California give me the opportunity, I will definitely bring that to an end. So, Sandra, I don't want to hold you much longer. I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to speak with me. And
Thank you
but
for having me, and I
oh
apologize for being a little out of it. Like I
no,
was saying earlier, I've been having heart issues and just haven't been feeling 100%. So if I'm a little bit out of it today, excuse me. But I try to at least inform as much as I can regarding the things I feel are very important, and hopefully you'll carry on some of the thoughts and ideas that I've
I certainly
projected.
will. Yes, I will continue to carry that message forward and appreciate all of the information that you've provided to me. So I'll be again praying for your family and
Thank you.
have you in my heart and mind, and we'll be sending you love always. So
Thank
please
you.
spread the word to the everyone that you know about my candidacy because I'm really doing my best as a grassroots candidate to get elected based off of word of mouth. I'm running
Please
as
send me promotional information, and I'll make sure to post it on our pages because anybody that's pro cannabis, especially for patients' rights, needs to be supported.
thank you. Yes, you got it right. So let them know that I have their back as long as they got mine. We got
Thank
to
you.
lean on each other to make it happen. So thank you for your
Absolutely.
time,
Thank
Sandra.
you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. God bless you. Take care. All right, you guys, that again was Sandra Lepp. And she again is a cannabis grower here in California. And you heard her story as well as all of her concerns and what she would like to see different from our state officials here in California. And as I continue to say time and time again, we definitely should be taking advantage of the opportunity in front of us, which is a way for us to get a true representative of the people elected into office. And we can do that. All we have to do is show up in numbers. That's all we got to do because the candidate that can win in this recall election only has to win by a plurality, not a majority. So I can sneak my way into office with a small percentage of voters. But I need you people out there to help spread that message and make it happen. I'm running a $0 campaign for this recall election. So if you want to help me make sure that I cover my bases as far as filing fees, which is $5,000, every little bit helps in that effort. Visit my website, wildstar2022.com, right there down at the bottom of the screen. Please visit, make a contribution today. All of the funding for posters and, stuff that Sandra was asking about, like flyers and signs and stuff, that comes from people like you. So if you make a contribution today of $25, then you will be receiving a lawn sign, which I will be ordering soon. They're gonna look like this. So if you want one of these wonderful lawn signs behind me, or one of these signs behind me on your lawn, then make a $25 donation to the Wildstar 2022 campaign and help me get closer to my $5,000 goal. You can also help join Team Wildstar for free just by filling out a pledge card, sharing any of my information on social media, telling your friends and family about me, because that's all that's going to happen, is that the candidate gets elected is going to have the most name recognition. You don't need millions of dollars to make that happen. We need millions of people speaking out, using their voices to talk about who should be getting elected governor of California. And you can make that happen by, again, spreading the word, okay? You get more lightning. Yeah, lightning in the bottle. That's what we're trying to do here, is trap that right here in the state by taking advantage of the situation and getting Wildstar elected governor now. So head on over to wildstar2022.com. Of course, connect with me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that right there at the bottom of the screen, Governor Wildstar. And let's keep in touch, connect with each other. And I'll be back with another community Q&A soon. These will be sporadic based on when my schedule allows, and of course when guests are available to join me for a conversation, as Sandra Lepp did. So please subscribe to my channel on YouTube if you haven't already. That way you can get notifications in the future as to when I drop these chats. And of course, so you can join in the future, as did all of those people that dropped comments on me, mainly just Jack. Jack was here with me dropping comments, and Cade jumped in last minute. And all of you people that are watching that didn't make a comment, I appreciate you for being here and watching as well. So take care until next time. And yeah, stay tuned. All right. Long live liberty, y'all. Peace.